Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Daily Dizzle for Thursday, January 27th, 2011. This is Tommy Dizzlemits here, as always, delivering your daily dose of news. We've got a lot to cover, including the possible imminent cancellation of MTV Skins and a cleaned-up version of the Oscar-nominated The King's Speech. But first, we're going to jump right into the worldwide box office numbers. After being swatted away from the top spot last week, Green Hornet was able to ascend to the top of the throne for number one in its second week out. Ended up making $18.5 million from 45 markets. That brings its foreign total to about $37 million at this point. Meanwhile, number two, movie that came out here a long time ago, and I had honestly thought that most of the rest of the world had seen it at this point. Apparently not. Clint Eastwood's Hereafter. That's one with Matt Damon, where you can see crazy, disaster events and stuff happening, I guess. And it really just didn't do well in America. And I thought they had rolled it out. Apparently not, because they're starting to roll it out now. And ended up opening huge in first place in France and Spain. So right now, it's got $30 million in the worldwide, which is about what it made in America alone. With a $50 million budget, it's actually going to make some money in the long run. So congratulations. Clint Eastwood's the only guy who can open a movie that you can forget about, and then it'll come back even before there's any real news to it of just, oh yeah, you guys didn't like it, but other people did, and it still will make a ton of money. So I guess that's the reputation that he has been able to build over the years and build off of that. That's probably why he's still alive and kicking and probably never going to leave Hollywood before his death. So congrats, Clint Eastwood. You are going to haunt us forever. Meanwhile, number three at the worldwide box office, Black Swan, after having thoroughly entertained the U.S. audiences, is starting to make its mark on the world. Made $11.4 million from just 9 territories. And it's got a lot of expansions coming in the next couple weeks, so we'll see if it's able to do as impressive as a performance as it has done in America. Meanwhile, The Tourist added another $11.1 million to its total, so now at the worldwide box office, it has almost $140 million. So any lack of performance in America has definitely been made up for overall. Meanwhile, number 5, The King's Speech, after being nominated and recognized on the American shores, despite not adding any new territories, it actually continued to do better than it did last week, jumping up to $9.8 million. So that's really good news as well. Meanwhile, number 6, Disney's Tangled is still hanging on. Added another $9.5 million, so it has over $230 million at the worldwide box office. Fantastic. If you want to account for its American gross too, $420 million. I didn't just pick that number because it's a number I like. It's the actual number. Check the figures if you want to yourself. Meanwhile, number 7, 8, and 10 go to holiday holdovers. Gulliver's Travels with $7.7 million, A Little Fockers with $7.5 million, and rounding out the top 10, Tron Legacy with $6.9 million. So that's what we've got for today's worldwide box office coverage. Tomorrow we'll take a look at the weekend box office. We got 2 movies opening at almost 3,000 in theaters. The Right, which is the Anthony Hopkins possession movie. And then you have Jason Statham doing what Jason Statham does best in The Mechanic. You're adding Ben Foster in there too, who's pretty underrated badass actor himself. So we will have full coverage of that tomorrow, as we said. But now it's time to jump right into the latest movie news. So as we said before, The King's Speech, obviously, nominated for an Oscar. It's currently 4th at the box office. It's made nearly $60 million just in America, which is quadruple its budget, and at least another $30 million at the overseas box office. So it's doing very well, getting all sorts of recognition. It's doing exactly what the Weinstein company wanted it to do in the long run. So what do you do when you have a massively successful movie bring you all sorts of good praise? Especially for the fact that it's not the most entertaining subject matter. It's not robots exploding and heads being torn off. It's a fucking king with a speech impediment saying fuck a lot. That's the reason it's rated R, because of the word fuck. Fuck. Ooh, are you offended yet? If you are, you're the reason that society today is being held back, and you're the reason that the Weinsteins have come up with their latest method to try and whore you out of your money. What they're doing now is they're actually testing broader versions of the movie to see if they can get it down to a PG-13 or a PG rating. Of course, that'll affect a lot of the movie, only because the word fuck is an important part of that plot. This is a problem that you're running into with a lot of current cinema, and it's something that they're even just starting to approach and touch on and start to expand the boundaries of a little bit. Until this last 2 years, the last couple of years actually, you really couldn't say fuck in a movie if you wanted anything pretty much below an R rating. If you said fuck once, that was guaranteed PG-13, and it had to be non-sexual. If there's any way that you could take it and be construed as suggesting the art of fucking, that is where you cross the line into R-rated territory. Meanwhile, though, a couple years ago, 16 Blocks came out. It was the first movie to use the word fuck twice. Granted, it was the same lines of dialogue, only a character had recorded it and then replayed it back later. But still, it was pretty big for any cinephiles out there who know that that never happens in a movie. And then meanwhile, after that, you have The Social Network this past year, which within 2 scenes of each other, almost successive scenes, you had fuck being dropped in 2 separate instances in those. So really, it's ridiculous that I am even talking about the word fuck as if it's news, because we've still not gotten past that hump, despite the fact that, cable companies, even if it's not, it used to be just weekends, and now even, you watch It's Always Sunny on Comedy Central on Monday night at 9 o'clock, you can hear shit. It's not going to kill anyone. The word shit and the word fuck are not going to cause anyone to go pick up a gun and blow someone else's brains out. But meanwhile, the Weinsteins are going to contribute to that by being like, we got the R rating because of the word fuck. Well, let's cut it out and compromise the vision and make more money off of it. Now on to the Lord of the Rings movies, and anyone who couldn't get enough with the first trilogy and the extended editions and the re-releases and... Sorry, I short-circuited there for a minute. Anyone who hasn't gotten their fix of Peter Jackson's movies yet, and was really, really looking forward to The Hobbit and counting down the days to the start of production in February, you're going to have to add a few more days to the countdown. Director Peter Jackson was admitted to Wellington Hospital on Wednesday night with acute stomach pains. He underwent surgery for a perforated ulcer. He's resting comfortably at this point. It's not really expected to make a huge delay on the film. Really just a slight delay on the start of filming. But still, when you have a director going into a big movie, and he's got, a lot of directors, if you've heard, if you watched Kevin Smith, the Evening with Kevin Smith videos, he talks about meeting Len Wiseman, the dude who did the Underworld movies and directed Live Free or Die Hard. At the beginning of production, he talks about how, the guy looked like he was 100%. Months later, the second time you met him, when they actually went to shoot the film, you could tell, he was a heap, and he had been in better spots, and he had been diagnosed with an ulcer at that point. So, if you're a big-time director, you already know you're going to be working up a lot of stress for your big-time movies. When you have to get surgery for the stress before the movie's really begun, it might not be a great sign. Granted, I know that The Hobbit has been a story in and of itself, because at least what The Lord of the Rings got done with 3 movies in a couple of years, it's taken that same time to get just to the pre-production stage almost of The Hobbit. You've had so many people in and out of involvement. You have companies switching off on it. Originally, Peter Jackson wasn't going to be in it at all. You had Guillermo del Toro, and then you had him drop off, so Peter Jackson had to step in. So it's no wonder that he's got an ulcer and needs surgery. But hopefully the surgery will get him on his feet and going in no time for all those Lord of the Rings fans out there. Personally, I watched the first movie, I watched half the second one, and I watched the last 10 minutes at the volcano for the third one, because I didn't need to see the 5,000 endings. Once the ring was gone, my involvement in the story was kind of gone as well. And another follow-up. A while ago, there was a casting notice that went out for the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And it asked for people, it gave, description, young ladies, blah, blah, blah. Not young, but ladies, blah, blah, blah. Quote, must have real breasts. Do not submit if you have implants. End quote. That's Jerry Bruckheimer's official casting announcement out there. But in Happy Ending, there's a reason for it, and it makes sense at the end of the day. It's because that casting announcement particularly pertained to the mermaids in the movie. Why the mermaids and the breasts go together? The exact statement from Bruckheimer himself. I don't think they had breast augmentation in the 1700s, so it's natural for casting people to say, we want real people. Alright, dude. Alright. Just because you have some kind of unfulfilled fetish with, I can't go to hookers because they have plastic surgery and I know it's fake. I need it to be real. That doesn't mean you get to play out that fantasy in your day job with your casting sessions. So, meanwhile, to wrap up today's Daily Dizzle, MTV Skins is making news again today. After only 2 weeks out, the show is already in danger of getting canceled. Obviously, there were a lot of sponsors pulling out, including Taco Bell, Wrigley, Subway, Foot Locker, L'Oreal, and Schick. So, over half of 10, that's a lot. But it really does add up because just those sponsors pulling out alone means MTV is facing losses of up to $2 million an episode from here on in. If you want to look at statistics, the first episode made 3.3 million viewers, which is very good. You know, obviously, the first episode is going to be a better rating than any of their other episodes. Still a good point to start at. Second episode dipped to 1.6 million. Even when you're a new show and you're losing part of your audience from your first episode, you usually don't lose half of the fucking audience. Granted, it could be like, you know, all the parents being like, oh my god, what is this show? We heard about it and we can't let the kids watch it. Gotta set the parental controls. Speaking of which, are parental controls of like some kind of good use, useful use? The only reason I'm asking that is because every time I've ever had to deal with anything in the way of parental controls, whether it be AOL or Time Warner, TV settings, whatever it is, the parents are the ones who have to ask the kids how to be able to know how to use it. So really, it's the kids setting it. That's how I got away with having my awesome parental controls, where I could go on everything forever and watch anything. Isn't that how it goes normally? I thought it was the parents were clueless and the kids are the ones who know, and that's how they find ways to get around anything like, oh, my parents don't want me to watch Skids. Regardless, though, from first to second episode, it went from 3.3 million to 1.6 million viewers. If you can't do quick math, that's over half your viewership. That's not good. It's like when a movie, even when like big blockbuster movies come out, if you lose half your audience is kind of expected at this point, but they try and keep it as close to half, because anything closer to like that over half mark, you're not going to recover from that. But the funny thing about this is, apparently the creator of the original show, who was brought over from the UK to do the new version of it, this is the exact thing he predicting happening, and he had to have MTV pretty much hold his hand and pretty much tell him, no, it's okay, you know, we know how to handle this, Obviously, when the dude knows what's going to happen and you still, you know, let him do his thing and it does happen, maybe the guy knows what he's talking about, and maybe you should have listened instead of wasting your money on a show that you're going to have to throw down the drain after one season and a little bit of controversy about, ooh, child porn, ooh. Child porn. You know what child porn is to the kids that the show is aimed at? Regular porn. So that is all the time that we've got on today's Daily Dizzle. We do thank you guys for joining us as always. If you found any of the information in today's video useful, give us a like. It can only help us and get us a little bit more exposure, and it can only guarantee that we will stick around longer. And you want your Daily Dizzle fix, right? You have to. You wouldn't be watching this otherwise, right? You wouldn't be just doing it for stupid entertainment, right? There's no possible way that you couldn't just be looking to kill time, huh? Right? You love us, right? If this is your first time checking out the Daily Dizzle, we do Monday through Friday updates, in addition to a weekend update either Saturday night or early Sunday. On top of that, you can check out our YouTube channel by clicking the username Dizzlemits, or you can go to youtube.com/Dizzlemits. There you can catch up on all the Daily Dizzles. On top of that, we also have a bunch of other original content, including awesome music video highlights for movies such as Batman Begins, High Fidelity, The Dark Knight, Freddy vs. Jason, Friday the 13th, a few others. So go ahead, browse through those. You're guaranteed to be able to waste some time and probably find some entertaining stuff. So we only hope that you can check that out, and we only hope that you can join us again. As always, for the Daily Dizzle, I am Tommy Dizzlemits. We will see you Friday.